Welcome back to the Roll Tide Rewind in 2025. What just happened? Alabama went into Athens and ended a 33-game home winning streak. That's what happened. We are back. I am one of your co-hosts, Thomas, residing from Durham, North Carolina, and we have Parker from
Oklahoma City, baby. Repping my
Oklahoma
team.
City,
Second team.
recent NBA Final champions, Oklahoma City.
World champions, in fact,
World
some may
champions.
say.
World champions. Well, did Noah Lyles say we couldn't say world champions? Is that what he said?
How many times has he stepped foot on the hardwood?
That's a good point. Noah Lyles, you've been called out. So it's going to be us two tonight. Cole couldn't make it. He's in Mexico trying to get James from the Federales. And then Ryan just returned from a European trip, and he is currently asleep. So we're going to give them their piece, but we're going to hop right into the film. Alabama fans, this was a breath of fresh air. Alabama went 13 of 19 on third down. In comparison, Auburn went 0 of 13 yesterday. We hit 13 of 19. So let's start off. Why were we so successful on third down? Well, let's start off with the first one. First one in the game. Georgia goes 3 and out, punts it to Alabama. Alabama immediately gets to 3rd and 7. So first third down, we have got our best weapons on the field: Williams, Bernard, Horton. We got Jam Miller back, Cuevas at the top. And Georgia's going to bring a bit of pressure here, which we went over in our video as something they probably would try to do. But it's a very elaborate pressure. But Ty makes, that's an all SEC play. He doesn't try to force anything. He's staying calm. He's not panicking. He's not bailing. He steps up into the pocket, sees what he needs to get, and gets about 10 yards down or 3rd and 7. Doesn't have to be a home run play every play. But you can just see a night and day difference, Parker, between what we saw against Florida State to even this play 3 plays into the game.
Yeah, and it's very important, I think, to start this video off by mentioning a few things context-wise. The first is that Jam Miller's back along with Tim Keenan. 2 very important pieces. Jam Miller may be one of the biggest reasons why we were so successful on third down, not just as a potential outlet, but as a blocker. Probably his most underrated skill. Jam Miller blocked phenomenally all night, along with the offensive line, only allowing 1 pressure that came on a penalty the entire night. Listen, whenever you have an offensive line block like this, you're going to bring in opportunities. But if we go back to this first play specifically, this is just a quarterback who's smart. He was recruited as a dual threat. I don't really see him that way. But you notice how the pressure is coming from the outside edge is specifically. As you push those edges back out, that lane opens up, and you see Georgia's bringing the pressure, but it's all coming from 2 directions. And so what does that do? A smart offensive line caves where it needs to. Third down run, convert the chains. We'll see this more and more as the year goes on, I think. Ty Simpson, the ability to move it on his legs. And with Jam Miller back now, not to take anything away from Kevin Riley, but as an outlet, like he's blocking here, and he's doing a phenomenal job. But we'll see later in this video, Jam Miller breaks out, just a quick little cut across the field. He can block, he can catch. We talked about the scheming coming into tonight. We said the scheming is going to be the most important part against this Georgia defense. Ryan Grubb stepped up to the challenge, and this offense looked phenomenal at pretty much all levels.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And they did their work. I'm going to give shout out to Cole. Cole mentioned in our Georgia defensive preview that Ellis Robinson was attacked early in the Tennessee game. We're going to see on this play right here. Second drive of the game for Tennessee, deep ball to Chris Brazzell, and Ellis Robinson is no match for Chris Brazzell. Chris Brazzell dominated that game, but Ellis Robinson was picked early and often in the Tennessee-Georgia game. So what does Alabama do on their 4th play of the game? They attack. Or 5th play of the game. 2nd and 10, they attack. Play action pass, we have all time in the pocket. Ty throws it deep. It is a walk-in touchdown that is just dropped. I don't know how everybody felt. I felt very empty when this happened. I thought we had a chance to stab them in the back to start the game, basically insert ourselves 5 plays in. You went 3 and out, and in 5 plays, we hit a bomb for 62 yards for a touchdown. But it's dropped. Ellis Robinson is there trailing Ryan Williams.
And I think it was on the broadcast, but Ryan Williams leads the FBS in drops. Like Ryan Williams has, or the SEC maybe. One of those
I
two.
think
I
I
think
think it's the SEC. I think since 2024 last year he leads the SEC in drops. I think it's like 12 or 13.
it's been really fascinating to watch him play this year with all the hype that he garnered last year, because I think that if you take away the name, he's a very solid receiver still. But the name carries so much weight, and you see it here is that that's double coverage. He's just so fast; they'll sneak right through him. And one of the things that we also talked about, to tie it back to the last group of videos that we did, is talking about your man Horton, right? And
Yeah,
how he was going to try to get downfield. We said, hey, even if he doesn't get a bunch of targets, I was on record saying I thought he will, but even if he doesn't, just how he's going to help stretch the field is going to change how this game is played by Georgia. And this, as the fifth play of the game, the offense knew it. They knew that if we can stretch the field, if we can sort of layer that second and third level a little bit farther apart, we're going to find our spots. And they did. Ty Simpson was a masterclass performance from that 15 to 25-yard throw, getting it over that second level, keeping it under the third level. This play right here is everything Bama's about, except for the drop.
yeah. This one, like I said, felt empty because it now goes from 2nd and 10 to 3rd and 10. We just had an opportunity, and now we have to go one more play. Usually in some eras, this would be the play where nothing happens, punt the ball, forget this ever happened, and we look back at the Ryan drop as a big turning point in the game. However, on 3rd and 10, with all the noise, Athens gets pretty loud, 33-game home winning streak, all the adversities against you, faces a blitz. Ty stands in the pocket and delivers a great throw to the sideline to Roll Tide Rewind X Factor, Isaiah Horton, who did get his fair share of targets in this game. But it's just like night and day difference, like we've been talking about. Georgia has how many guys? That's 7 guys in like between 3-4 yards to the line of scrimmage. And I think they bring 6, they back one guy up. It's 6 against, I think we have 6 guys there, but Josh Cuevas is going to bail. Jam's going to stay in the block, but one guy does go unimpeded. Doesn't matter. Ty knows where he's going. Ty senses it, and he makes the best play that he can.
Well, here's the thing: as this play develops, you saw Cuevas break out as sort of that release point, and that's if Georgia sends 7. So he's the first look. You keep on that side of the field. At the 10-yard mark, you have a very tight comeback, and that was the second read on this play. This was just beautifully designed. Georgia was not ready for this at all. They struggled all night to get stops when sending the blitz. They were very, very unsuccessful with it, and if you're going to try it all night, they stuck to it. So give them their props, I suppose. But Bama saw the film. They were ready for the pressure on that front line because we said it. The secondary is not going to be great. The linebacker unit's below average. The defensive line is probably their strongest part. And Bama did a fantastic job shutting them down.
Yeah, like you said earlier, starters allowed 1 pressure all game. That's recipe for success. Later on this drive, we're on 3rd down again. 3rd and 5. We have Ryan Williams. I think that's Logzier Brooks, Cuevas, Isaiah Horton at the bottom. That's Kevin Riley at running back. Georgia has 6 guys in the box right there. They're still shifting around. And I think Georgia just gets confused on this play. There's a miscommunication that Ty saw immediately between the corner and the safety because this looks like they're in a zone coverage right here. Cuevas, you have Horton here, corner here, safety there. There's no pass off here. Safety bails immediately, but there's no pass off. The corner just lets Horton go. He sees Cuevas, he takes that because if he runs with Horton, Cuevas has an easy first down because he's just running a stop route right at the like a hitch route right at the 40-yard line, like right at the first down marker. But Horton is left with all this room, like from the 40 to the 30, he has nobody but him. And the safety, that's just an impossible play for the safety to make if Ty bullets this pass like he does.
This is something they saw in film. This is something they very clearly saw in film because Ty Simpson, the ball is leaving his hand before that cornerback even takes that first step back trying to stop the comeback route. They knew that on that outside, Horton was going to sneak past. They knew that was going to be given up. This is film right here, 10,000%.
And you can even look at Ty. He's looking there the whole way. And also, I don't know what Georgia miscommunication they have on the defensive line, but all of their guys rush on the right side. And then we have Ty. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to jump in. It may not even be a miscommunication. It may just be trying to sim pressure,
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at Horton and Cuevas. Maybe you're thinking this is going to the wide side of the field. So you send pressure coming or push it all to one side. Maybe something gets through. I don't necessarily think that's a defensive line breakdown, but it just worked out for Bama's favor that they're looking to that side of the field anyway. There was never at any point in time going to be another read over on the other side of the field.
Yeah, I definitely agree right there. But yeah, incredible and good pass too. Like bullet pass right to your 6'4" receiver who can make a play. And then Alabama does get down the field, gets a 3rd and goal, and motion Jeremy Bernard. And we see who's guarding Jeremy Bernard is Ellis Robinson. And this is man coverage. I think it's man across the board. And Georgia brings 4, and Ty just makes a great pass. But also Bernard's wide open. Like, it's a good pass, but also doesn't. I mean, it didn't have to be. Could have thrown him a little high, could have thrown him a little low. Bernard was going to get the ball every single time. So great way to end the drive. Like, obviously, touchdown's a great way to end the drive, but you go like 5 of 5 on 3rd down conversions to open up the game. That is wildly impressive.
On this play again, watch Jam Miller. Nobody within 6 yards of him. He had a touchdown too, right? This one was going to find the end zone.
Oh yeah,
Georgia.
That's the first time I've noticed that. He's wide open. No one took him. I just now noticed that. That's the first time noticing that.
That's a middle linebacker breakdown. You see he's covering the middle of the field. He's right beneath that second G in Georgia.
Yeah.
His assignment is break out with the running back, and he just
doesn't.
He's following the eyes of the quarterback, but I mean, two breakdowns there for the Georgia defense.
And also, I think Cuevas is open as well. Let's look at it again. Cuevas right here. I think he's open. Like, yeah. If you throw a jump ball to Cuevas, he comes down with it, in my opinion, too.
Probably.
That's 3 guys. He had 3 opportunities, which is incredible. And Loxier at the top runs a great corner route. I just noticed that, too. Makes this guy look silly.
Get some space. Man, that's just a beautiful play call. Beautiful play design. They understood what Georgia's goal line defense was going to look like, especially in a man look like this. I think man coverage is incredibly overrated in the red zone, especially from that 5 to 10 yard range, because if you get a really talented receiver who's got great separation, you're getting beat on a hitch move, man. You are going to just get absolutely cooked on a little 1-2 quick head whip around, and then next thing you know, you've got 3 steps of separation. It's going to be impossible for you to get there. I think that this was another thing that man coverage in the red zone. Let's have as much movement laterally as we can. And you start right there. Crosser, corner out, running back on the flat. No problem.
Yep. That was a great way to end the first drive. But also what was more impressive is they came out in the second drive and they delivered again. They start the drive again, 3rd and 7. I think that was the same as the first drive as well. Their first 3rd down was a 3rd and 7. We have 4 receivers, got Horton at the top. That's Cuevas. I believe that's Ryan Williams. That's Isaiah Horton. And then we have Jam Miller in the backfield. Georgia, I believe they send 4. And Ty actually, this is a very impressive play by Ty. It's a really laser throw, but Georgia's defender does get his arm on Ty's. I think it's his throwing elbow. And Ty doesn't panic, steps in, and delivers a pretty laser shot to Cuevas there. We'll see it better on the replay here. But it's like I said, it's a tight window, not an easy throw. Cuevas does have room, but it's not an easy throw to make. And you can see here, Cole gets his arm right on Ty's throwing arm, and it doesn't matter, does not faze him. And like I said, 9-day difference between the Florida State game and now. Did not faze him at all.
No, he's comfortable now. He has a couple wins under his belt. It's not his very first game as a starter. Those things all add up. When you beat Wisconsin, when you go like 40 for 42 over this course of 2 games, those things build your confidence. You're seeing the translation from practice now to the field.
Yeah, I agree. We get to, in the second 3rd down on this drive is going to go to 3rd and 6. Same personnel on the field, Cuevas. Now we have trips at the bottom. This was, I think, the first time we pulled out a trips look. Bernard in front, Williams, and then Horton's going to motion out right to the outside of them. But Ty's looking this way the whole way because Georgia is not really respecting this trips. I mean, I think they will adjust to it here, but they're not really respecting this trips. And the play, I think, is designed for Ryan Williams the whole way. And it's a great play. And also credit to Ryan. He had that horrible drop, and we're still throwing the ball to him, and he made plays. He didn't drop anything after that play. But I feel like this is good design here on a third and like medium.
It's the blitz being beat again. You saw the linebacker blitz. You saw the strong safety come down to kind of fill that spot, kind of be a lurker over the middle of the field. Bernard is open. Williams makes a move, gets open. The Georgia pass rush was bad, but it's not just that. The Georgia blitz was bad. They're committing too many personnel to try to get to Ty Simpson. I don't want to sound like I'm beating on a dead bush, but I want to make this point one more time, and then I'll leave it alone. It's the levels. It's all about creating time to throw, right? If you only have 2 seconds, you need to have somebody available at 2 seconds. But this right here, this is simply just attacking one point on the field, having a breakout right there on the near side hash. You see, that's where everyone kind of makes their cut. Williams cuts back. Bernard cuts in, and then Horton keeps on going. That's the cataclysm point. If you can make it to right there, you could just have to find who's open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also credit to Jam Miller on this block on the linebacker here. Brailsford picks up the right side, and Jam gets the left side. And, one missed block there, like it's all over. But, like I said, credit to Jam, credit to Parker, credit to the entire offensive line. Just absolutely insane performance they had. We'll go to the Alabama didn't really this was the drive. They had a few third downs, but they were runs, and we were able to get them. And then we ended the drive here, 1st and goal. We're going to send a few. I think we send Ryan from this side all the way. He lurks, kind of like sneaks under off this play action pass here. Like I think Ryan would be the first option on this play. Ty does not panic. He waits for it to develop, and he hits Horton on a strike here. Not an easy throw to make. We'll see it better on the replay here. But the goal of this would be to get the ball to Williams and let him just run right into the end zone here. Sneaks here, but Georgia does sniff it out. They have a guy waiting for him right here. This guy wasn't there. That's an easy play because Jeremy Bernard's getting covered. Horton's covered. But Ty patiently waits, and Horton does a great job of knowing the defense is flowing this way and stops. And that's what creates him being open.
Yeah, and Ty stops right about the exact same time. I feel like, man, if you're reacting that quickly, then you must have the best reflexes in the world. I feel like this is drawn up in such a way that you're right, Ryan Williams number 1. I think it's Jeremy Bernard number 2 if he gets off of that somehow. And then Horton's number 3. And they have it set up so that as that third and final option, as the field moves to the right side of the screen, if you just stop before you get to the hash, both for Ty Simpson and for Horton, then that's your last resort. A beautiful last resort, a beautifully thrown ball. If that's covered up still even there, I think Ty is maybe just throwing this one away or, trying to make a move upfield. But
because it is a 1st and goal. It is a 1st and goal. Yes. It's not like this was a make or break play. This is just it just happened to work. So if they both weren't open, Ty can just toss it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, great cap to the second drive there. And then I think this was probably I guess this was the most important drive of the game, like when you look in retrospect for the Alabama offense, because 2 minutes left in the half, Alabama gets the ball first, but Georgia had just made it 17-14. They just cut it to a 3-point game after you're up 17-7, and also 14-0. And we are at 3rd and 1 here. This formation was when I saw this live, I was thinking this is a run to Jam Miller, 3rd and 1. But when I saw this formation come up, I was like, there's obviously something up. We're not going to line Isaiah Horton up in like the backfield and also line Jeremy Bernard up 3 yards behind him. And then also Jam Miller be to the right of them. There's something cooking here. And this play, it scared me when it was happening live, but it ends up working out. Toss to Bernard. Bernard probably could have made it just running by himself, but he makes the play to pass it to Horton. And like I said, was a little terrifying to start, but it did the job. The creativity is what I like here. The creativity
I like it too.
Keeps the teams on its toes.
Yes, I do as well. I think this was too cutesy, though. I think you're right. I think that this is maybe too early in the season to pull that out of the bag, admittedly, just because it's such a unique formation. Like, you probably won't get anybody with that again the rest of the year.
No.
So if that's the one you're going to use it on, if you win the game, I guess it works out. But it does make me curious to see what else we have. Like if this is the scheme we're cooking up, basically, you know, it's the same concept as a reverse pass almost. Instead of having a second option to throw back to the quarterback, you just get it ahead of you. I don't know. I love the creativity, but I think it also is my least favorite play of the night, just because a 3rd and 1 is what we used it on.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But it felt like just how they were running it. It looks like it's made for a 3rd down because it's not made to be a long play. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's made for that kind of situation. But I agree. It was a little too cutesy. But I guess if we're going to use it for a game and we win the game, I'm okay with it being at
Might as well be Georgia.
So might as well be at Georgia and the 33 home game winning streak. I'm going to add this play. This is the next play after that. This is I believe this is my favorite tie play of the night. I thought the offensive line did a good job here, but also Ty extending the play was what was incredible to me. Georgia rushes 4. Ty gets out of the pocket. Kadyn Proctor, we'll get to him shortly on this drive, but great pass to Williams. And also it just kind of sets a momentum. It's like we're going to get points on this drive, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. We're getting points on this drive. We're not just running the clock out.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. You can just see the smile on his face after this play wraps up and he's heading to the new line of scrimmage because you're about to get up by at least 6, maybe even more. Kadyn Proctor, we'll see him here. We'll definitely see him more throughout the day goes on. But he understands and has worked with Ty. He knows what Ty is wanting to do. As this play develops and goes on, 3, 4 seconds, Kadyn Proctor knows that Ty is going to go to that far side of the field. He's going to go to as much wide open space as he can find. And what does Kadyn Proctor do? He puts his defender back in front of him and starts moving him upfield, creating the space needed for Ty. If that defender cuts back around the left side of Proctor here, like right here, if he cuts around or even stays committed to that path, he is getting in the way of Ty Simpson. This play may not develop in the same way because of that. So Kadyn Proctor kept this play live, and man, there were 5 red jerseys in that shot when Williams caught that ball. Not one of them were within 10 feet. This was a massacre of Georgia's secondary this game. This is pretty much the blueprint if you want to scheme how you run your passing game against Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of Proctor, this next play here, this is what really kind of set us up for success. Loxier Brooks, true freshman, he's been incredible. He's getting a lot more playing time, well-deserved here. We motion Jam Miller out to kind of get them a little confused, run a screen back to the middle of the field, and Loxier Brooks does not stop, runs through guys, makes a great play. We got to give props to Loxier Brooks on this play. Props to him first, but also let's give props to the offensive line.
Watch number 74.
Watch 74 right here. Watch what he does. He gets rid of 2 people that could have made the play.
It reminds me.
Talked about. Oh my goodness.
It reminds me of watching like a pick and roll in football. Look where he stands. He knows that Brooks is going to come around his right side. He is going to be that anchor point, that pivot point for Brooks to turn upfield. Watch him right here. He'll get set, move, use the momentum, keeps him out of the way. This turns from maybe, 3rd and 1 to 1st and goal, right?
Oh, yeah.
This
yeah.
blocking.
Like inside the 20. Yeah. Red zone.
Yeah. This blocking from the snap to moving downfield and getting in part of the screen, fantastic job. A lot of people, myself included, had a lot to say about both of the tackles for this team, but they both have really stepped up as the year has gone on.
I was about to say, welcome Formby here, 75. Yeah. He makes a good play. He throws this guy off. Guy actually falls, funny enough. You can see that the guy he has, bye-bye, and makes a block downfield. And also Parker Brailsford, he's the best. I think he's the best offensive lineman we have. I think he's the best center in the country. He pancakes his linebacker too, straight to the ground. That's their best linebacker they have. Pancakes him right to the ground. So the overall just effort here was incredible. Effort here was undeniably incredible. And then we talked about creativity. We've talked about Kadyn Proctor a little bit. If you ask any Alabama fan, probably what their favorite play of the night was, this is what they're going to say. What do we have here? We have Horton at the bottom. I think that's possibly Loxier. That's Jeremy Bernard, definitely. That's Jam Miller. Kadyn Proctor is lined up at receiver, and you're thinking, oh, they're just trying to fool us. They're trying to, make us want to go over there because Proctor is not an eligible. I don't believe in this case he's an eligible receiver. So they're like, oh, they're just trying to fool us. We're gonna ignore that.
And before the play even starts, hear me out. This could be a screen pass to Miller, and they're just having Proctor out there to block. So the attention's out there because if Jam Miller gets this catch and you only have a cornerback or a safety, Kadyn Proctor's going to eat their lunch. What comes next? I don't think anybody expected.
No. Jeremy Bernard gets sense in motion. And so it kind of gives you the idea maybe they are running some of that side. But could it be that Jam Miller and Jeremy Bernard are blocking for Kadyn Proctor? And I thought he scored. He didn't score. But this is hilarious. They can't tackle him. Oh, I thought he had scored. That Rico Scott was the other guy, not Loxier Brooks on the other side. That is incredible. And also credit to Miller and Bernard. They blocked their guys. And then poor safety right here. I think it's 31 right here. Watch the attempt of the tackle.
This is the perfect, quite literally, the perfect response to a nickel or a dime coverage whenever you have 4, 5, 6 cornerbacks out there. You talk about the game evolving, right? As the era of the pass came to, and you moved from 4-3 to 4-2-5, or maybe like a 3-3-5 tight. Mm-hmm. As the game evolves, you get lighter, you get faster, you get more mobile. Try stopping that with 2 or 3 of your corners. Good luck. But yeah, I think this is every Alabama fan's probably favorite play. This probably goes in the hype reel, like crazy stuff. And how does this drive end? Another 1st and goal, touchdown from Ty Simpson. It's kind of a similar rollout. We're also just the elaborate formation here. Miller lining up like as a fullback, Jeremy Bernard lining up as the running back. And it looks like the play is supposed to be for Bernard, but he gets taken by Dalen Everett there. And Ty realizes, I have an open lane, and he takes it, and it's a touchdown. It's man coverage. They're not looking at Ty. Ty's getting chased by 2, like a defensive end and a linebacker, and it's not going to be close. It's Ty's a win-win. The thing is Bernard may or may not be seeking contact here. If he is, then that's a block. That's just straight up a block downfield. Mm-hmm. If it's not, it's still a block. If you're making contact, you are officially one body away from getting into the end zone at that point. This is a beautifully drawn up play. I think that it's the biggest, maybe breakdown on the outside by Georgia of the entire night. Just right there. Nobody else is even close. Your one cornerback now has to pick.
It's crazy how lost they were in the red zone, because I'm just now noticing. Yeah. I love noticing new things when we're going live. But Caleb Edwards right here comes from across the screen. True freshman, I think he's played incredible. He's wide open. Like, there ain't nobody for him.
No.
And, you're going to see where there's one guy. He's covering Cuevas. He's not looking at Caleb Edwards. They have one guy for 2 in the back. So, either way, this play works. You can either throw it or you can run it. That was the choice Ty had, and it was a touchdown either way.
Yeah, it was.
And then I think this last third down is the third down that seals the deal, that ends the game. Georgia had punted with 3:40 left. Alabama got a 1st down on a quarterback sneak, got 15 extra with a personal foul. We're now 3rd and 5, and this is the ball game. Georgia has no timeouts, minute 51. This is it. This play call was incredible. There are 3 guys that are wide open on this play. And when you watched it live, you probably were thinking this play was always made for Jam, and it was. Jam was always the first option. He was the guy that was going to get the ball. When we see this replay, it is truly impressive how incredible this play call was. Send Jeremy Bernard in motion, move all of the players to the big side of the field, and the short side of the field is over here. We do a little misdirection, and it works out perfectly. Jam Miller ices the game. And we're going to see on this all-22 look view, when Bernard goes, they shift. They have basically 4 defensive backs for these 3 over here. And then once we do this misdirection, watch what happens. We're going to keep going a little bit here, but Jam is going to sneak out, open. Horton, open. Cuevas, open. If Ty wants another touchdown, he can just throw it to Cuevas. But open, open, open. Such a breakdown from Georgia.
If you go back to pre-snap, that may be a little too far. Either way,
I went a little too far.
That all 22, you see that they're right there. Man in motion. We're heading over to trips. Trips has been something that Georgia's been struggling with all day. Okay, those 3 red jerseys on the left hash, they're all ready for what's going on. There's a 6th man on that line, and that far right cornerback looks lost because now he's...
You're talking about this guy, right?
Yeah. He's solely responsible for not just the running back, which I believe is his primary assignment, but now Cuevas breaks off and the linebacker doesn't stand a chance, not even prepared because he's looking over to the trip side of the field. This is an absolute nightmare for that defensive end right there. because now he has to try to be the guy to stop it. Doesn't. He tries to get pressure instead. Middle linebacker knows he's beat, cuts on over. 3 guys open. This is the culmination of how Georgia's night went. They just looked lost. They looked confused. They didn't look fast. They didn't look like they hit hard. They didn't look like they were powerful or sharp in any capacity. Once the ball was snapped, there was no way this wasn't going to be a first down except for a drop.
Yeah, or if 33 gets a tip on the ball. I think in this point, he kind of, if he knows what's going on behind him, his best bet is like, I'm just going to rush
pressure.
him and hope he makes a bad throw or hope I tip it. That's really the hope there. But the corner here, as soon as the play, like you said, is snapped, he goes, oh, freak. Cuevas is, he's gone. And then the linebacker at the same time realizes the same thing. And he also sees that Jam is here. He goes, oh, freak, Jam is open. And what does that do? That leaves Horton open too. Because this corner, the one that's getting him, is the one that's 10 yards away from Horton to start the play. And because also we see, like, I'm noticing now they have 2 defensive backs that ran to the boundary over there where Bernard was going. Bernard motioned, and they basically took 2 guys away from the play. And, like, he's an important part of this play. Because he's in the middle of the field. He could be someone that, could affect the Horton route. Wouldn't have mattered because of what's going on over here. But
this was man coverage breakdown, just plain and simple. And the biggest breakdown is the corner on the right-hand side. He should have known that this was a chance because we had seen Cuevas be an offensive weapon all year. He only had 24 yards this game, but how he stretched the field, that's just a total breakdown. That's an ugly one in the film room this week for Georgia. Yeah, and
then we'll segue from this jam pass to one of our last 2 things we'll talk about. But what did you think of getting the running backs involved in the passing game? Because rushing, like, we weren't getting a lot of yards a pop every single play. Like, we weren't like averaging a ton per carry. Jam had 16 carries, 46 yards. Kevin Riley had 10 carries for 30 yards. How is it important to get these running backs involved in the pass game?
Man, I think it's super important. Jam Miller had 19 receiving yards on 3 catches. Riley had 37 on 2 catches. That's an average of like 18 and a half yards a catch. It's crazy. They're the perfect release valves to this team. They are so interesting, and I'm so glad that we have Jam Miller back. I also love that Riley is still a part of the offense. And obviously, you're recovering from a broken collarbone, so you're not going to get all the snaps. But they're an offensive threat. They can take the ball. They can rush. We know they can. They only had 76 yards of rushing this game. Whatever, man. You're moving the chains. And the thing is that they can run, they can catch. Maybe the most important part of these running backs is how they block and how they've stepped up in the blocking game. Because we've seen multiple times tonight that Georgia blitz get picked up by Jam Miller and Kevin Riley. They are staying in there. They are blocking. And then this will happen right here. Because they're blocking, the defense can sit on it. So what happens is if Jam Miller's blocking. I'm sorry, will you go back to that last play? I think that really highlighted what I'm talking about. The screen pass. Watch right here. Okay, running back, steps up to block, slips on through, right? Because he has been a blocker. He has been blocking throughout the entirety of this game. The fact that he is able to not receive pressure immediately and get that extra step, even though it didn't work out there, he opens up so many doors by doing that. And instead of only being utilized with like a wheel route or a flat route like we saw earlier, now you can slip on through, and now your screens become a lot more effective because you actually are convincing. It's like how an RPO doesn't work if you only ever run the ball. Like, you're not going to throw the ball. If you're not going to block, then you're not going to then you're going to catch. So the ability for them to block leads them to the ability to catch, which in turn opens up the ground game because they're a threat from both of those aspects.
Yeah, I thought it was big that they both got involved. I want to give one credit here to Parker Brailsford on this block right here downfield, 72.
Yeah.
Just he's incredible, man. Cole Kublik will tell you every single week that he's the best center in football, and I'll take Cole's word for it. But also, watching the games, I feel like that speaks volumes. We'll end here. I wanted to say, I wanted to bring up something of what people notice it too. I think Jeremy Bernard is the X factor to this offense. And you saw that in this game, just the wrinkles that we did to get him involved, to get him the ball. Like, we're lining him up at running back on a lot of these, on some of these plays, and motioning him a lot. Like, even here in the first drive, motioning, got a screen pass. Williams misses a block in the beginning, gets a shoulder in somebody, though. I'll give him credit there. Misses a block in the beginning, but makes up for it. But the want to give him the ball is important, because I feel like there's going to be a game where he breaks one of these runs off. Like, he had I think 4 carries yesterday for 20 yards. And, it doesn't have to be big. Like, this is a 3rd and 2. He just needs to get 3. He end up getting 7 or 8 right there, but that's a big play. Like, we're putting our trust into him on a lot of these formations, a lot of these plays. We're putting our trust into Jordan Bernard. And I think Ty's obviously the most important player on this offense. How he goes is how the rest of the offense goes. But if you told me to pick someone that's second, it's got to be Jordan Bernard.
It's kind of crazy that Alabama was so fortunate to have Jeremy Bernard follow DeBoer, because I feel like he could have gone anywhere and been the clear-cut number 1. Instead, he follows his coach. Now, they bring in a 17-year-old kid, and he's starting to get a lot of noise. And now, another 1 year in the program, nobody's really seeing you as that guy, at least in terms of the media, the populace, to come back and to continue to play with a high effort level every single play, being asked to do anything, to run, to get downfield, to spread the fields, to get good separation, to block for Kadyn Proctor. Just he's doing everything he's asked to do, and because of that, the coaches have seen it. They're scheming him in. They want to find him. He's very talented. I think that this year, it's hard to say how it'll end, but whenever you look back on it, you're going to talk about Ty Simpson, and you're probably going to talk about Jeremy Bernard, because I think this is, it's Ty's team, and then his right-hand man is Jeremy Bernard.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then we'll end with one little clip. Jeremy Bernard against Georgia, he has a 100% touchdown rate. He scored a receiving touchdown on the first drive this year. And then last year, we'll see here, if people remember, he made it 21-0 for 3 for 3 on touchdown drives. Similar start last year. Last year they went up 28-0, not 14-0. But it was I like to see the consistency in the offensive game plan. They saw that this worked last year. They did a sweep to Bernard. I think this is the only sweep they did to him last year, but they used it a lot more. But they're also, Ryan Grubb is a different play caller than Nick Sheridan. He's going to get him more involved. Sheridan didn't get him as involved. Toward the end of last year, he did. But in the beginning, we kind of had to keep building up to using him more. And Alabama's already jumping on that.
Yeah, we really didn't know what his role would be in the offense, as my camera has to autofocus once again. We didn't really know what he was going to be. We kind of just had to fit him in wherever, because it was a clear cut, Our identity is going to be on the ground, and we're going to be a real rough and tumble team. And Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Williams is going to kind of be that guy that spreads the field for us. And Jeremy will fit you in wherever we can. And it's refreshing to see him kind of have plays drawn up for him. And again, part of why he's so effective is because he's not the spread the field guy. He's the run in motion jet touch pass guy. He's the, you know, he creates separation over the middle, and he'll get a step, or he'll bring two defenders outside. He's such a threat. They know we're scheming for him on that breakdown to get that final first down to seal the game. He pulls two separate covers. They're doubling him in motion from
Mm-hmm.
that trip set. The gravity that he has on the field, how his teammates look up to him from what I've heard internally, like, props to you, young man, because it takes a lot of stones to have that first year where you came in and were kind of just like, maybe not the baggage, but like kind of the baggage of Kalen DeBoer, right? Everyone knew what Parker Brailsford was, but Jeremy Bernard was the receiver that was also coming along. Man, not even in question anymore. Your not just commitments to the team, but the value and the dedication for the Tide. So, props to you, man.
Yeah, props to the young man. Well, I got nothing else to add. I think this was a good recap on how Alabama was so successful against Georgia, and I hope this continues against Vanderbilt this weekend and hopefully for the rest of the season. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow for our Vanderbilt offensive preview. But until then, roll Tide.
I told you that Georgia would get 200 rushing yards. I told you they would do it. Good night.